Let's talk about naming an emotion. And that's an important part of the burnout recovery plan, was actually figuring out what is going on with you. Because you can't fix it if you're just kind of guessing. Or you might even be addressing it and it seems like nothing's changing. And it's because you're naming the wrong emotion. And this actually came up when I was working with clients, and we would be talking about, well, they do that, or they get this, or they got to take PTO. And that was an angry emotion, but actually when we really discussed it and looked down deep, it was resentment, which is an emotion of envy. So when you say, well, it must be nice to take that PTO and they get to always be off at the end of the year while we're working overtime over at the end of the year, or this person has a tribe so they don't even need to get a babysitter and us parents have to pay for a babysitter, that must be nice. It's an emotion of envy. So once you name it, do you see how lighter that gets? Versus I'm angry. Well, what are you angry at? That they have a grandma that takes care of their kids? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool for the kids. That person took PTO, great for them. They need a reset. They've been stressed out just like you were, and they have their busy seasons too. When you reframe it to the actual emotion it is, which is envy, it means you need something. It has nothing to do with them. And I found myself saying this must be nice comment a lot when people will go on grand vacations and be off for a long time, because I was always on 24/7 in my role as the emergency contact, as someone who was a workaholic, a stress addict. I was always on. And so when people would take PTO and actually shut off and you couldn't get a hold of them, must be nice to shut off. Kelly didn't need to go on that vacation. Kelly needed to shut it off. Kelly needed to sign off. Kelly needed a nap. So when you can name that emotion, you can actually take appropriate action to process that emotion and to figure out how you're responding to it, because it has nothing to do with that other person. It has to do with your perception of that other person. So let's go through just one of them, and then you can go ahead and check the sheet in the attachment to really start naming based on your behaviors, based on how you're feeling, so that you can start to process it. Because once you name it, and you can name it in a genuine root cause manner, it processes so much easier. Versus Kelly's angry. Well, then I was just angry all the time. But when I said Kelly's envious of this, okay, what is this? Why are you envious of it? Oh, that's what I need. I'm missing that. That's a gap that needs to be filled. Do you see how faster that processes, how much lighter that is? So let's go through like anger, okay? Anger can be you're hurt. Anger can be that you might be insecure about something and someone's pushing you into it. It might be that you're hateful against someone. You hate them. It might be that you're just mad, that I'm just mad at the situation. Why is it going this way? It might be aggressive, right? I need to be aggressive right now. There is a response in which I need to get in my control and get defensive, aggressive. You might just be irritated, right? And then why are you irritated? Oh, because this continually happens. Because I'm not getting enough sleep. Because I don't feel good right now. We all know when we're sick, we don't feel good. Everything's irritating. Another emotion of anger is, are you distant, right? So you're the one being distanced, and now people aren't showing up. People aren't responding. People aren't talking to you. Well, that's it. You're not really angry. You're distant. You're distancing yourself. Another emotion of anger is critical. So are you being overcritical on yourself that it's literally making you angry? This spiral. So there's all different responses and body sensations that you will have within this. And again, I'm going to attach the sheet to this emotion identification to help you start to discover. And a really helpful thing that I know is not for everyone, but you have to either meditate or journal to get that out. So now that I discovered it, let's take a deep dive why it's happening. Write it out. Meditate. Get it out. I used to shove this down, shove it right down to my gut, and eventually I had physical collapse and digestive failure. So it all just sat in my gut. All this emotion that was unnamed and unprocessed. And eventually my gut shut down because of it. So when you can begin this process of naming the emotion, you start the progress of recovery.